Dad, did you make a drop? For years old. Sitting at a crab table that isn't his father's restaurant, calling a man who isn't his father Dad, on a live stream that's monetizing every second of it. And 2 months before this exact clip went up, a different account, a DJ, a juice company owner, a man the internet had never once been introduced to, posted that he was stepping into the streaming world himself. Same platform, same audience, same kid. Nobody's connected those two posts yet. We did. Superior's actual father entered this ecosystem in May. By July, he's a background prop in a seafood commercial calling another man Dad on camera. While that man is juggling a pregnant girlfriend with a due date that's moved 3 times, a paternity dispute with a toddler who isn't legally his, and a 4th woman who just showed the internet an ultrasound. Grab a napkin. This one's got sauce on it. Before the crab legs, quick thing. If you've ever caught yourself mid-scroll thinking, wait, that doesn't add up, you already think like this team does, so lock in and hit follow, because the drop after this one already has its own receipts pulled. Bell on 2. Some of what's coming isn't going to sit in your recommended tab long. Here's the skeleton, no seasoning. Johnathan Michael Porter, the man everybody calls Blueface, owns a seafood chain called King of Crabs, with a location at 26234 Bouquet Canyon Road in Santa Clarita. On July 10th, a live stream from that restaurant put him at a table with his girlfriend, Nevaeh Akira, and her 4-year-old son, Superior, a child who is reportedly not biologically his. Akira is currently pregnant with Porter's child, following a February 22nd live stream where the pregnancy was first confirmed on camera. At the same time, Porter is navigating a live paternity dispute over his son with Chrisean and a newly surfaced pregnancy claim from a woman named Rella. One more piece of the frame before the paper opens, because it changes how the rest of the table reads. Porter's public life for most of the last 2 years has been shaped by a felony case in Las Vegas, a shooting incident that resulted in a plea and a custodial window that only closed the previous November, which is the same November the XXL piece anchors its since his release timeline to XXL. Every single beat you're about to see, the February pregnancy stream, the April voicemail, the June ultrasound post, the July family broadcast, lands inside an 8-month window from a man who was, until that November, physically unavailable to appear on his own live streams. The compression matters. This isn't a slow drift into chaos. It's a compressed sprint into it. Start with the table. Nothing interpreted yet, just what's on record. February 22nd, Porter finds out live, in front of chat, that Akira might be pregnant. His exact words when the test results come up: "You having a Blueface baby. Woo!" Followed by, "Welcome to the Blueface Cavaliers, baby. You've been selected." Akira's response on the same stream: she'd terminated a previous pregnancy with him, and this one feels immaculate. Sit with that phrasing for a second. Immaculate. Not planned, immaculate. 2 months later, April 24th, a different woman's voicemail plays out loud on a Porter livestream. She's not calm. "You nutted me twice. On Easter and the 13th, she says, before flatly stating she's keeping the baby. Akira is sitting right there when it plays. Her reaction, on camera, is a threat to physically confront the caller. The outlet covering it notes Porter had, at that point, fathered children with 3 women and was actively expecting with 2 more since his release from custody the previous November. Read that XXL line back to yourself one more time, because it's doing more work than it looks like it is. 3 women with existing children. 2 women actively expecting. 5 distinct maternal timelines running in parallel. And the outlet doesn't editorialize the count, it just files it in the middle of a piece that's ostensibly about a voicemail. That's not a gossip beat. That's a reporter noting the math and letting the math speak. Now, the paternity thread that predates all of it. Chrisean, the mother of Porter's youngest biological or allegedly biological son, has spent over 2 years in a public tug-of-war with Porter over whether that child is his. Rock renamed the boy Chrisean Jesus Porter during a live dedication ceremony, giving him Porter's own surname as a statement. Porter's mother, Carlisa Saffold Harvey, the woman the King of Crabs chat just calls Carissa, went the opposite direction, publicly floating that she and Rock's family might simply be cousins, not co-grandparents. That's not a stray comment. That's a matriarch on record hedging against a grandchild. Notice what the dedication ceremony actually did in paper terms. Renaming a child mid-live stream with the middle name Jesus and the surname Porter isn't a religious gesture with an audience attached. It's a public assertion of paternity delivered in the one format Porter's ecosystem actually respects. On camera, in real time with witnesses. Rock didn't file a petition. She held a ceremony. That's a strategic choice, and the strategy reads, clearly, she's not trying to win a courtroom, she's trying to win the timeline. Carlos's cousins. Line is the countermove in the same format. Neither of them is negotiating in private. They're both filing in public, using streams as the docket. Rella enters next. Fewer headlines, more paper. She posted what she called a 10-week ultrasound in early June, time-stamped, captioned as a receipt in her own words. By the time she's discussed on camera with Porter, the conversation isn't about whether the baby exists, it's about child support. No hedge on that quote. She filed the ask on live stream in front of an audience which is about as public a paper trail as this industry produces. And somewhere in the middle of all four of these threads sits Jaden Alexis, Porter's first baby mother, still raising two of his kids, a son named Javon and a daughter named Journey, largely out of the current news cycle because nothing about her situation is currently on fire. If you've worked the social side of a family vlog account or a restaurant's content calendar, you already know why a stable co-parent doesn't get airtime. Drama gets clicks. Stability gets buried. Somebody in that world can probably tell us exactly how that calendar gets built. Comments are open on that one. Sit with Jaden's position for one more beat, because she's the control variable in this whole experiment. 2 kids by Porter, no ongoing paternity dispute, no live pregnancy claim, no on-camera child support ask, no ceremony, no voicemail. And the reward for that stability in this ecosystem is being written out of the current story almost entirely. Hot New Hip Hop's piece on her is a background write-up, not a lead. Every other maternal figure in Porter's orbit gets a headline. The one who isn't currently generating one gets a footnote. That's not neutral. That's the algorithm's opinion of what a co-parenting arrangement is worth as content. That's the filing. Now, the part where it stops sitting flat and starts moving. Look at the order these things landed in. Pregnancy confirmed February 22nd. Superior's actual father resurfaces publicly in May. The voicemail pregnancy plays April 24th. Before the father's post, technically, but the two events are separated by roughly 2 weeks either direction depending on which platform's timestamp you trust, and neither Porter nor his team has publicly reconciled the sequence. Then, July 10th, the seafood table to add, here's the piece that actually matters, the due date. In the raw stream audio, Akira tells Chat the baby's due July 12th, while the same clip has Chat teasing that critics predicted July 22nd instead. A separate Instagram post from the pregnancy shows an ultrasound-adjacent graphic reading August 24th. A TikTok recap dated later still says August 29th. For different due dates across 4 different posts inside roughly a 6-month window. Somebody in the comments has to have screenshotted all 4 dates in order because every archive we pulled only had 2 or 3 at a time. If you've got the full set lined up, that's the piece this case actually needs. Wait, back up on that for a second, because it's not just sloppy math. Every one of those due date posts landed within days of a subscriber push or a hit this number and I'll answer questions gate on the same channel. The February reveal happens live, unscripted, presumably real. Every date after that gets attached to a monetized milestone. That's not a coincidence you can wave off as bad memory around a pregnancy. That's a pattern where the due date functions as a content beat, not a medical fact. Follow that logic one more step, because it opens a door the surface reads keep closing. If the due date is a content beat, then the pregnancy itself is a content asset, a 9-month narrative arc with built-in checkpoints, guaranteed audience curiosity, and a finale that generates its own thumbnail. every legitimate maternity moment. The reveal, the gender question, the ultrasound share, the nursery build, the birth becomes a scheduled drop on a release calendar. The February 22nd stream wasn't the beginning of a family. It was the pilot episode. And the 4 shifting due dates aren't confusion. They're pacing adjustments to keep the season from ending before the ratings peak. Meanwhile, Carlos's cousin's framing from the Chrisean situation gets recycled, almost word for word in spirit, into the King of Crab stream. Except now it's not distancing, it's rallying. We love Carissa, chat. Put some W's in chat for Carissa, Porter says on camera, and the sub count visibly climbs right after. The same maternal figure who hedges away from one grandchild gets deployed as a sympathy engine for another storyline 3 months later. Same lever, opposite direction, depending on what the moment needs from the audience. And Rella's timeline lines up tighter than anyone's flagged. Her ultrasound post lands in early June. The King of Crab's family stream, the one building the wholesome stepdad content, goes up 5 weeks later on July 10th. A new paternity headline breaks, and the response isn't silence, it's a bigger, softer, more polished family broadcast from a different woman entirely. That's not proof of intent. That's a pattern read, and the team staying honest that it's exactly that, a pattern, not a sign memo. One more overlay before the microscope comes out, because it's the piece that makes the whole calendar sit differently. The April 24th voicemail didn't just surface a new pregnancy, it surfaced it at the exact table where the February 22nd pregnancy was still being celebrated. Same stream format, same girlfriend, same audience. 2 months, 2 pregnancies, 1 broadcast setup. Whoever's booking the content calendar didn't spread those beats out, they stacked them. And stacking pregnancy reveals on the same channel within 8 weeks isn't a family accident. That's a programming decision, whether anyone in the room would frame it that way or not. Now the microscope. 3 specific frames, because the wide shot already told most of the story. Pull the actual on-camera line from the July 10th stream. Akira sets a number, get it to 3,400 and I'll answer all the questions. And when chat pushes back that she's not answering what's already been asked, she snaps back that she won't until the number hits. That's not a fan engagement bit. That's a toll booth on personal information about an unborn child. And it works, because 5 minutes later the goal's been hit, and the shout-outs start. Question for subscribers has become a functioning business model on this table, receipts included. Every single King of Crab's live stream doubles as an ad for a restaurant Porter owns outright. The location, the menu items, the come see what's cooking captions, all tagged to the same handle that also owns the pregnancy content, the paternity content, and the stepdad content. Superior cracking a crab leg on camera isn't just a sweet family moment. It's an unpaid child actor in a seafood commercial that's also functioning as reputation laundering for a man with 2 live paternity storylines running in parallel. Watch what gets a reaction and what gets silence. When chat brings up Ashley, a woman Porter openly discusses being with over the weekend midstream, Akira defends the relationship without missing a beat. He still takes care of her regardless. When chat brings up anything about her own son's actual father, the tone shifts to blocking and moderation. One kind of male presence in her orbit gets defended out loud. The other kind gets muted. Actually, hold up. That's worth sitting on for a second, because it's the one place in 6 months of content where the no filter, we're just a real family branding cracks on its own without anyone forcing it. Go back to the February 22nd reveal and listen to what Porter's voice actually does when the test result lands. The woo isn't a father's reaction. It's a broadcaster's reaction. The pitch, the timing, the immediate pivot into the branded line about the Blueface Cavaliers. Nobody who's genuinely processing news about a child says the merchandising line in the same breath. That welcome to the Cavaliers isn't a joke that landed, it's a bit that was ready, which means either the moment wasn't as unscripted as it played, or the reflex to convert a personal beat into a branded one is now faster than the personal beat itself. Neither read is comforting. One's calculated, the other's automatic. Take your pick, either way, the paper reads the same. One more magnifier, quick, the digital residue nobody flagged. Superior's actual fathers may post, the one where he steps into the streaming world under his own handle exists inside the same platform ecosystem Porter is broadcasting from. Same recommendation algorithm. Same discovery surface. Which means somewhere in the back end, the platform already knows both accounts exist, already knows they're connected to the same child through visible tag content, and is already deciding silently, invisibly, algorithmically, which of the two dads to surface to whose feed. Nobody at the platform is going to comment on that publicly. Nobody has to. The routing is the statement. Here's where the two camps split, and where the loudest one deserves a real hearing before it gets taken apart. The soft news camp, Complex XXL, the outlets running the couple confirms pregnancy pieces, frame this as a relationship maturing in real time. Messy public, but ultimately a man settling into fatherhood after a chaotic few years. That's a fair read of the surface. Nobody's disputing the affection on camera is real. The gossip page camp runs it colder. Full chaos framing, he's got 4 women pregnant, headline energy, treating every new woman as a punchline. That framing sells clicks, but flattens actual kids into a body count. Look one layer deeper at how each camp handles the count itself. Complex's piece opens on the couple and uses the word confirmed, a warm, closure-oriented verb. XXL's piece opens on the voicemail and files the tally in the third paragraph, using since his release as the framing device, a legal temporal receipts first verb structure. Same person. Same 8-month window. 2 entirely different verbs doing the load-bearing work. Complex is writing about a family. XXL is writing about a caseload. The story didn't change between the two pieces. The verb choice did. Then there's the one the comment section is going to bring up regardless of what we say here. That Porter stepping in for Superior is, on its own, a good thing. A kid without a present father getting attention from someone willing to give it whatever the platform's ulterior motives. That argument deserves respect. Kids don't choose who shows up for them, and showing up matters regardless of the camera. But respect it, and it still runs into paper. The same stream that platforms Porter as Superior's doting stand-in father is the stream gating pregnancy information behind subscriber goals, recycling his own mother as a sympathy lever between 2 different paternity disputes, and tagging every bite of crab to a restaurant he profits from directly. Genuine care and content strategy aren't mutually exclusive, but when the toll booth shows up on a 4-year-old's dinner, the good thing framing has to share the table with the business model underneath it. There's a second Steelman worth taking seriously, and it's the one that shows up in Carlissa's own defenders under her posts. The argument goes, Carlissa isn't playing both sides. She's protecting her son from a paternity situation she believes isn't legitimate and rallying around one that she believes is. Read charitably, the cousin's comment about Rock's child isn't dismissal, it's doubt. And the we love Carissa moment at the crab table isn't opportunism, it's endorsement. Same instinct applied twice, honestly. That's the charitable read. And it deserves the same hearing that he's just being a dad argument got.
Think of it like a 2-tier system. Tier 1, the baby mamas who cooperate, who show up, who let the show film the baby showers, who don't publicly criticize the family, who let their kids be branded as part of the squad. They get zodiac charts, champagne toasts, and screen time. Tier 2, the baby mamas who go their own way, who date outside the ecosystem, who won't put their kids on camera for content. They get ambushed on livestream, dragged in the middle of unrelated monologues, and quietly nudged toward the door. Jaden is currently in Tier 2. Rella is being offered a slot in Tier 1. And the terms of the offer are written in real time, live, in front of an audience that thinks it's watching a heartwarming reconciliation. Now, I'm not saying she doesn't love those grandkids. I actually think she does, in the loud, chaotic way she loves everything. But love and leverage aren't opposites in this family. They've never been. That's the whole business model. The friend request from Rella's mother is still sitting there, unopened. That's the tell. Grandmas who genuinely want in on a baby's life don't wait for the reveal clip to go viral before they respond. They pick up the phone, or they at least tap accept. Because if you've been watching this family the way I've been watching this family, you already know the shape of what's coming. This has happened before. Different names, same choreography. There was the earlier era, where a public falling out with an ex-partner got months of screen time. First the accusations, then the counter-accusations, then the concerned mother interlude, then the reconciliation arc that ended in a joint post. There was the middle era, where a fiancé became the good baby mama, then the difficult baby mama, then the ex, then the punchline, then the wrong party, then the punchline again, all depending on whichever repositioning served the news cycle that week. And now there's this era, where the newest baby mama is being processed through the exact same conveyor belt. Rejection, silence, reveal, name, pivot, welcome. The intervals are getting shorter, by the way. Longtime viewers have pointed out, and I think they're right, that each cycle in this family compresses the last one. What used to take a year now takes 6 months. What used to take 6 months now takes 6 weeks. That's not because feelings are moving faster. That's because content demands are moving faster. The algorithm rewards the pivot. The pivot rewards the algorithm. And everyone at the center of the storm gets pulled forward, whether they want it to be or not. Rella is being pulled forward right now. In real time. On camera. Whether she knows it or not, the choreography has started. The music is playing. The steps are already marked on the floor. Watch how the next 30 days play out. Expect Rella to get a soft public olive branch, maybe a repost, maybe a story tag, maybe a, I never had a problem with her. Y'all made that up revision on a future live. The blacklist gets memory hold. The friend request stays unanswered because that would require admitting there was one. Don't be shocked when a sit-down episode gets teased. Rella on the show. Cameras rolling. The baby bump front and center. Sponsor circling. It's already sketched. Carlisa practically walked us through the storyboard. I bet she wants to have them on an episode of her show. Yeah, she said the quiet part. She always does. Expect a soft baby shower segment. Expect a Meet the Family reel where suddenly Rella is standing next to Journey and Avery like she was always in the group photo. Expect a monetized moment around the birth itself. Maybe not a full live stream of the delivery, but definitely a curated, welcome to the world post that will be timed to a slow gossip news day for maximum surface area. Expect at least one crying in the car reflection video from Carlisa about how much motherhood means to her and how her heart has always been open. Tears real, mascara intact. And expect a Jaden contrast to sharpen. Not because Jaden is doing anything to provoke it, but because the narrative requires a foil. In every reconciliation arc, there's a designated outsider, someone whose exclusion makes the insider's inclusion feel earned. If Rella is being processed into Tier 1, someone has to occupy Tier 2. And right now, quietly, that's Jaden's slot. She hasn't asked for it. She hasn't done anything to earn it. She just has the audacity to live her life offline. And in this economy, that alone is a provocation. And 5 years out, the residue is the part that lingers. This family has a pattern. The kids grow up, they see the archives. They see who ghosted who, and when and why. Journey and Javon are already old enough to feel the temperature shifts. A little Carissa, if she ever exists, would grow up watching the clips of Grandma toasting champagne to her name while her own grandmother's side of the family sat outside a friend request. That's not a legacy. That's a lawsuit waiting to file itself in the group chat around age 14. Because, and this is the part nobody wants to think about, these are not fictional characters. These are actual children who will actually one day type their own names into a search bar. They will find the clips. They will find the live streams. They will find the moments their grandmothers, their mothers, their fathers, and their extended families chose the algorithm over the phone call. And they will draw their own conclusions. That's not a doomsday prediction. That's just what teenagers do. They audit their childhoods with the tools their parents gave them. And this generation of parents has given them a tool called the Internet Archive, which forgets absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Jaden, quiet right now, on vacation with the kids, being talked about not to, gets the last word by simply not participating. That's the flip most people miss. The one who stays offline, while the others fight for the algorithm, usually walks out of the decade with the cleanest reputation. She's not winning by fighting. She's winning by not showing up. And that, more than anything, is the lesson buried in this whole cycle. The people who don't feed the machine end up outlasting the people who do. Not because they're better, not because they're purer, just because the machine eats what you put in front of it. And if you don't put anything in front of it, it eventually looks for its next meal somewhere else. Jaden figured that out. Whether by accident or by design, she's currently running the only play that ever actually works in this ecosystem, which is don't play. The counter-narrative, that Carlissa's just a chaotic, loving grandma with no strategy, falls apart the second you line up the ghost, the reveal, the pivot, and the pitch. That's 4 steps. That's a plan. For steps and sequences and chaos. 4 steps and sequence is a routine, and routines get rehearsed. All right, that's the read. If it hit, you already know. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and drop your take in the comments, because I want to see who's siding with Grandma and who's siding with the friend request. Part 2 of this is loading. We're keeping eyes on Rella's next stream, and whether that DM ever gets opened. Fame Cryptic's out. Catch you on the next one.